Welcome to the Rimm-PODCAST episode 47. Today we got a really special guest. He's a circuit judge from Orange County, right?
Orange and Osceola.
Orange and Osceola. Oh, it's even better. So, Judge Vincent Chiu, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
And my first question, I know that you serve half a term, now you're getting re-elected for the second full term, correct?
Yes, I'm getting elected to a full term in August, hopefully.
23rd, right?
August 23rd.
Got it. And that's the primaries.
Yes, primary election.
Perfect. So my first question, tell us about a little bit yourself. Why you even decide to be judge? A lot of people decide to be a lawyer. Some people decide to be judge. Why you decide to be that judge?
Sure. Well, I'll take it back a little bit.
Go ahead.
So my parents came here in the 70s, about a year before I was born.
Okay.
So I am, I'm the son of immigrants,
Okay.
and I'm the first person to go in my family to go to college,
Nice.
to go to law school. And when I went to law school, I received a scholarship
Okay.
at the Ohio State University School of Law, and so my law school was paid for as well as my living expenses. And because of that, I felt like I wanted to do something where I could serve, I could give back, and because I had this gift of not having to come out of law school with a lot of debt.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I entered public service. I was
Okay.
a state attorney in Ohio
Okay.
for several years, and then I came down here in 2008 to take a position with the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Okay.
The U.S. Attorney's Office is that's the federal prosecutor's office.
Mhm.
So there I worked with the FBI, the Secret Service, the DEA, and
CIA
federal.
too.
A little bit with
A
the
little bit.
CIA. They kind of do their own thing.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, they try to leave the lawyers out.
Oh, okay.
But my specialty was for a large part of my career was terrorism and national
okay.
security, hate crimes,
Okay. Cartels.
cartels. We did some of that, and child sex offenses,
Okay.
and fraud.
Okay.
So I served there for about 12 years.
Okay.
I worked on the Pulse investigation. I don't know if you're familiar with, but a few years ago there was a lot of threats against Jewish institutions.
Yes.
I ran that case out of Orlando for the entire
wow.
country.
Wow. Congratulations.
Because the Jewish Community Center here was the first one
To be.
to report it to the FBI.
Oh, okay.
But I felt the call to become a judge because I wanted to be able to engage in public service in a way that was a little bit more, where I wasn't necessarily advocating for a position,
Mhm.
where I could look at cases and make decisions based upon what I thought the law said and what I thought was right. Becoming a judge really allowed me to do that. It also allowed me to really engage with the community in a much more hands-on,
scale.
in a hands-on way.
Mhm.
So, I was doing big cases at the U.S. Attorney's Office, but you're only engaging with your case. Whereas, when I became a judge, I was in family. I was in family court for 2 years, and you
Okay.
really, so day after day, people are coming in, and you're helping them through their divorces, and you're, solving problems. And I think I really was energized by that, and I really enjoyed that.
Oh, okay. So now I know everywhere we run, we have an opponent. So my question: why should Orange County voters and Osceola too vote for you, or other well-qualified
Sure.
judges, or the one who was running for the judge?
Sure. So, like I said, I've got about 18 years of experience in the
Okay.
courtroom.
And experience matters, right?
Experience matters, and relevant experience is what
Okay.
matters. So I've spent the last 18 years in the courtroom doing trials,
Okay.
jury trials,
Okay.
which is what the sort of a lot of what a circuit judge does.
Mm-hmm.
My opponent is a bankruptcy lawyer,
Okay.
and there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, that set of skills isn't really relevant to being a circuit judge.
Okay.
Is not someone who tries cases as jury trials. And the other thing I would say is, a lot of times this is just one person saying they're the right candidate versus another person saying they're the right candidate. What I can say is that I enjoy the overwhelming support of the legal community, and from both ends of it, criminal defense attorneys, the sheriffs and law enforcement, plaintiffs' attorneys and defense attorneys, so and as well as the family law community. So, what I would always tell people is that if in doubt, you ask your friends that are lawyers, or if you know a lawyer, you ask them. And I think, in particular in my race, I feel very confident as to what the answer they'd give you.
And what is the hardest? What is the hardest thing? What is the hardest thing being a judge? What's the hardest thing for you guys, sitting every day in the bench and deciding, seeing the thousands and thousands of cases and interpret them, and what is the hardest?
I think the hardest thing is I always call it the weight of the robe, because every day you're making decisions that affect people's lives, and a lot of times you're making decisions that, may not feel like the decision you want to make, but it's the decision that the law requires. So I mean, I think that is hard, because in a lot of cases it's somebody's going to walk out unhappy.
Yes.
I mean, that's the nature of litigation. So I mean, I think that's a challenge, but I think we rise to that challenge by the way that we treat people, by the way that we handle the people that come in, and make sure that everybody understands what's happening, that decisions are made quickly, and that the parties, the attorneys know why the court is making the decision that it's making.
So now I want to jump on a little bit educational too, because I know you're handling the cases 30,000 and over.
Yes.
And if anyway, just you can give us a simple term of the legal definition. What is the medical malpractice law?
So medical malpractice, generally speaking, those are cases where someone has received medical treatment, and they're alleging that something that the practitioner did, or something that the hospital did, or the staff did,
some kind of negligence.
Wrong. Yes, it's negligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And another one, the tort laws.
So tort is just it's a broad term for all of those things. So it could be medical malpractice, it could be personal injury, car accidents, slip and falls, any number of things where one person's suing another person for damages or injury.
Okay. Foreclosure.
So I mean, foreclosure is its own sort of separate thing. Obviously, that's that is basically a lender instituting an action to take back take a residence because that the person, the borrower hasn't held up their end of the mortgage.
Pay their duties.
Yeah, I mean, it can be any number of things, but that's the allegation from the lender.
Contract disputes.
Contract disputes are just that's just what it sounds like, right? When two people or two companies or entities, they disagree over what the agreement was, and that happens a lot. And that's also why there's a whole section of lawyers that their job is to draft contracts so that those disputes don't come up.
Okay, got it. And my last one is the product liability access cases.
So product liability is it can mean a number of things. Oftentimes, what it is the a case where someone will say that a product was defectively manufactured, and because of the defective manufacturing of the product, that it caused injury. Now that's a very broad, and it doesn't always involve that fact pattern, but that's often the most common fact pattern.
Okay. Now as a business and anybody going through that, if you can give the piece of advice, what people should expect, the plaintiff or defendant, when they get to the court? what they should expect?
Well, the number one piece of advice I always give everyone
Uh-huh.
with regard to any kind of legal proceeding
Mm-hmm.
is that if you have a lawyer, listen to your lawyer.
Okay.
Okay, you know, because if you're going through the effort to find someone and to pay them for their expertise,
Uh-huh.
you should listen to them.
Okay, you should listen. You better listen to them.
So, you know, generally what to expect is, and it's changed significantly.
it
So,
is.
for example, a lot of cases now we are handling we're handling a lot of hearings by video teleconference
virtual.
or
Yeah, I saw it.
virtually.
Yeah.
And you know, that started because of the pandemic.
Yes.
But really, I think a lot of that's going to continue because it really is. It saves money for people, you know, who are paying for lawyers. It saves time.
It's more effective. too.
It's efficient, and really, I think the biggest thing is that what it does is that it increases access to justice.
Got it.
You know, it lowers the walls of the courthouse
Okay.
so that people can get into court. Because, you know, especially for example in family court, you know, you might have a number of hearings and maybe someone doesn't have a car, or you know, doesn't have, or is a single parent and is working. So, you know, by being able to do things virtually, you know, that person doesn't have to, you know, spend 3 hours on a bus route to the courthouse. That person doesn't have to take off work for the day. You know, might not have to find someone to watch the kids. So I think it really is. It's here to stay, and it's a wonderful tool to have to be able to bring the courthouse to people.
Nice. So now listening good lecture definition of legal languages and explaining in simple term languages. So do you possess any other expertise skills besides the laws?
I play the guitar.
That's the good one.
I play the guitar. You know, I cook a little. I mean, you know, I'm the cook at home, but
Okay.
I would proclaim no expertise as to either of those things.
Except the guitar.
I'm okay at the guitar.
Got it. And my last question that will go to the one question that you can, you know, why should people vote for you? What are your judicial role models? Is there particular judge or somebody that you have a model and you say, listen, this is because of this judge, either on appellate court, it was my role model while I was in school, and I love what he does for community and society.
Sure. You know, I would say there's a federal judge that you know, I appeared in front of a lot here in Orlando. His name is Judge Antone.
Okay.
John Antone, and he's someone that I really have looked up to, largely because of the way that he conducts court.
Okay.
You know, as trial judges, we're not really, you know, we're not deciding the major issues of the day. Trial judges, mostly what we're doing is we're giving people an arena,
Okay.
you know, to resolve their disputes. Judge Antone, I think, really was someone who he prepares meticulously for every case. He understands the law and he follows it. But most importantly, he is someone who understands. I call it the human condition, but
Okay.
who's someone who sees every person in the room, you know, as valuable, and treats them as such, and who loves his job. And you know, there's something, having tried cases, is that when a judge comes in and they love their job, and it makes you as the attorney love and respect what you're doing in the process. You know, as opposed to when you have like a grumpy judge who's always yelling at everyone.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's really what I model myself
Okay. Nice.
after, because it's, you know, a lot of times you can't control what the judge rules, and frankly, oftentimes you'll be in a case and a good judge will rule against you.
Okay.
But a lot of times, when a good judge rules against you, you still walk out feeling like
Good.
the process worked.
And
you
was
know,
fair.
and you were heard, and it was fair, and everyone was treated with respect, and you know, because that's I mean, and that's the mark of a great civilized society, right? That we're able to have a process where when we have a disagreement, we go somewhere, we present our case, it gets decided, and everybody goes home, civilly.
That's it. That's it. So now we learned so much about you. Now Osceola and Orange County has to decide. Upcoming elections are on August 23rd. Now they heard you are an expert, you know how to play the guitar too. So now my last question, if you can look it up in camera and said anything you want to say, persuade them, tell them why they should vote for you and what they should expect for you in next full term of 6 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you. As I said, I bring a lot of experience to this position. Over about 18 years of time in the courtroom. Because of that, I've seen, I mean, not everything, but a lot of things that may come up in a courtroom, and I'm prepared to address that. I've shown that I'm committed to public service. I'm committed to this community. I've left a lot of personal gain on the table to do so because I believe so strongly in it. I would say over the next 6 years, I would simply promise to do what I've been doing, because I think the best sign of whether someone's going to be a good judge is whether they have been a good judge. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to treat people well, and I intend to continue to maintain and earn the respect of the legal community, which I've been able to been lucky enough to receive over the last several years. And I would love to have your vote on August 23rd, or during early voting in the couple of weeks before, or during mail-in voting, which begins in mid to late July.
So Honorable Judge Chiu, we really appreciate you coming on our show, sharing and caring with community. That's my slogan. And I really thanking you again, stepping up and serving our community. And we wish you the best in campaigning. We'll post all of the information, we'll tag you, we'll share. And we really, down way on the road, you get reelected, we'll bring you again on some other topics, educational topics. So we really wish you and your campaigning team a good luck, and we'll see you again, and we might celebrate it, right? And thank you so much for coming, and we do appreciate you coming and sharing your knowledge and expertise with our audience.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So this is your host, Tiggy, podcast episode 47. We'll leave all of the information. Please help the Judge Chiu to get reelected and in the full term, and he will serve you the best as he can be. Because today education and what he shared with us, not many judges really do that. So thank you. We love you. Care and share. And we'll post all of the information. Thank you, Judge, again.
Thank you.